Hey everybody, welcome back. It's another beautiful day here, and for the parts of the country that are freezing your butts off, I kind of feel sorry for you, but where I'm at least it's thankfully getting warm again, and I gotta get out and enjoy it. So I'm gonna jump right into today's topic, which is striving in silence and the importance of that. Over the years, I've run multiple different businesses. I've never actually really worked for any corporations or anything like that. I've always just had my own work, my own business, and it's a couple of different business models that I've used. But as far as the subject of today's video, I can't begin to stress the importance of when you begin to pursue a goal, a dream, a business, something that you want to do. Oftentimes, in fact, almost every time, I would recommend keeping it quiet. Not divulging your plans to your family, your friends, and pretty much everybody around you, because most people are not going to understand that struggle. They're not going to support it. They're not going to support the risks that you might take. And in the second part of this video, I will address how to do that maybe in a way that I would consider smart, that as a business owner that has made it through all sorts of financial upheaval, change in the market, what have you, that you might find as sound advice. But absolutely learning to not shoot your mouth off to people, not give them reason to tear down what you're going to do, not because you don't want any wisdom or advice coming from them that might actually help you per se, but because you need to be very, very careful of people that are trapped very much in their ways. And striving in silence is a huge way to allow you to develop and grow in ways that people around you may not necessarily support or even understand. And it's an important part of just the growth of not just us personally, but society as a whole. If people didn't do that and didn't step out beyond the conventional means, then nobody would have ever gotten anywhere. But as it pertains to you and I on personal level, it's something that's so important, because when you are setting out to start, say, a business or a side hustle or something where you're going to change up the way your life is going to be, and you're going to change up the way you approach things, it's very, very hard for people to understand, and they almost want to begin to approach you with, well, you should have all these answers in advance before you even do that. But some of this has to be tested in a way that you can eventually determine how certain things are going to work, and you're just not going to have those answers. Those answers will not be ready in advance to provide to people who are basically demanding that you put the cart before the horse and that you know everything before you do it, because part of business is learning how to do it as you go and experimenting with what works and what doesn't work. And I think the best way I could put this is, over the years, I've had friends and people that have tried to approach me and say, look, we think that you should do a business model this way, or you should do this way. And I've often found that, although their intentions are well-meaning, they tend to sabotage their own life, and they tend to sabotage your life in the same way without even really realizing it. That's why nobody in their circles around them ever advances past a certain point. It always ends up somehow sabotaged, and nobody ever makes it. So, and another example I could probably give is, I've mentioned on many of the other videos that I do film work. And in the film work that we've done, our basic model, and the model that I encourage in some of the film groups that we run, it's pretty much independent film of all sorts and types, but the model that we try to go with is, you don't start off running a marathon. You start by sprinting a few yards and then doing the 50-yard dash and training and acclimating yourself to performing well in much smaller areas before you go on to try and tackle something big. So what we would recommend is, when anybody would ever approach us with a film idea or a concept, we'd say, look, we might be able to help you do this. We need to raise some money. We need to put together 3 to 5 minutes of a concept trailer or a concept scene or a short film of some sort, so we can convey it visually to anybody that might want to invest it in the future, but also proving that what we're doing can be done in a way that's done really well. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is figure out if you can do just at least a few minutes of really solid, good footage and crush it and do a really great job. Then you'll know whether or not you can make 15 minutes of something that's solid and good and is going to appeal to people that are film goers out there. So that's absolutely integral. It's going to kind of lead into my second point in this video, but if you can't do the 50-yard dash, you're not going to do a marathon. If you can't accomplish something smaller and test it, you're not going to be able to grow beyond it. And people around you are not going to understand that. Many of them aren't even going to be interested in hearing what you had to say about that, or interested in finding out why you're doing it that way. But trust me, it works. So to get on to point number 2, how do you begin to implement this sort of thing? If you have a side hustle, a business, something you want to do on the side, do you just go running off and spend a whole bunch of money, get a whole bunch of business licenses, buy up a whole bunch of insurance, and go running off and doing all that? No, you absolutely do not. The first thing you need to do is figure out a way to test and implement what you're doing on a small scale to figure out what parts of it work, what parts of it need tweaking, and see if you can begin to grow it from there. I myself have owned a contracting business on top of a number of other things, and over the years, what you do to start out with any added on part, like at one point we were adding in a number of different things, including a guy that installed ceramic tile, and then eventually a group of them. What you do is you begin to market that to whoever you can get a card in front of, present yourself professionally, and then eventually at some point, more and more people want to sign on and sign up for that type of work. You don't go out there and go into massive amounts of debt, get a hold of a whole fleet of trucks where you have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, and basically tons and tons of equipment. Start with the basics. Start with doing a good job on one, and then do a good job on the next one. And then eventually what will happen is that word of mouth will spread, and then your business will spread, and you'll now essentially have free advertising from your customers that are overwhelmingly happy with what you do. But you have to do a good job. You have to follow through, show up on time, keep your word. Very solid business principles. And I will tell you right now, there are people that are trying to start small businesses or even have been in business for years, and they don't get it all, what I just said to you. But as someone who has done this pretty much my whole adult life, I can tell you without a doubt that is really the only way that you're going to do it if you're going to start small and build big, is you have to test and work on what you're doing on a small scale and work out all the kinks, work out everything that's going to get in the way, and continue to grow from there. And it would be mind-blowing to some of you, I'm sure, how many almost near arguments I've had with people that tried to tell me it's something that has worked for me for 20 years just doesn't work. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, you're absolutely right. Today, 2 + 2 = 5, and you're absolutely right, on your way. So when it comes to implementing, you need to test what it is that you're doing on a small scale, whatever it is, even if it's an internet business or it's something that you want to sell. The woman that I'm dating, she and I occasionally will flip furniture on the side. Well, you need to figure out maybe what types and colors and things can go into the furniture that you're going to sell that are actually popular. And we've often used Facebook Marketplace, which is a free place to list. We've gotten a hold of, if you put your, keep your ear to the ground and keep an eye out, you can actually find furniture that's made of solid wood completely free. People are just giving it away. Like, maybe it's something left over from an estate sale that never moved, and it was, something they need to get rid of on a very short-term basis. They just need to get it out of there. And you end up getting a hold of really, really nice pieces of furniture completely free. And then you fix it up, turn it around, and make a profit. You can't have a much better business model than that. But it goes even further. Then what you have to do is make some colors and variations to one or two pieces. Learn how to prep them right. You know, basically you need to sand it down, put primer on it, any type of finish. That's assuming you're painting it, unless you're going to be staining it. And you might be saying, well, I don't want to do furniture flipping, Steve. Why are you talking about this? This applies to everything. This applies to everything. Learning all the nuts and bolts on a small scale so that you can begin to scale it to something big, but you have to take the time to do that. And that's actually the best way to do it. You want to take the time to do it without wasting a whole bunch of money or trying to advertise or push something. You need to take the time to do that just so that you can grow and develop it. And you need to do it and strive in silence to where you're not announcing it to everybody. You're not getting all the feedback, the pushback, and the people questioning and doubting everything that you're doing at every turn. They will find a way to discourage you. Even if you are the strongest, most bullheaded, determined person out there, they'll figure out some way to upend what you're doing because they don't understand it. They don't understand the drive, the struggle, and to some degree, the other beneficial part of this, which is something that I've heard from multiple different people that I've listened to over the years that have really motivated me. But part of this journey is what it's going to make of you. What it makes of me when I go through it and how it changes me into a much better version of myself. And you have to just accept that the struggle and the growing and the process, and every single time that you test something on a small scale and it doesn't quite work and you have to tweak it, or maybe it fails, those are good things. Those are lessons that not only just teach you character, but they also teach you how to persevere and problem solve. Problem solving and perseverance are skills that, oh wow, short supply these days. But if you can develop problem solving and perseverance and learn how to cultivate that within yourself, you'll accomplish anything when it comes to growing a business, growing anything that you want. I mean, I remember when I started the YouTube channel that we did for all the film work we were doing, and we only had like 2 subscribers, and now I guess there's about 28,000. And that's just happened over the years. We didn't even put all that much effort into it aside from making the films. We weren't doing regular content uploaded over there. And it's just something that if you cultivate and grow over time, you'll begin to figure out what is successful, what works, and what doesn't work. And you have to just trust that process. And you also have to trust the fact that people are not going to be on board with you about that, and that's okay. You don't need their approval. Learn to strive in silence until you overcome those things. And then at some point, you'll begin to notice down the road, this is something I've noticed in my own life, the approval of other people begins to matter less and less to you. Not just in something that you say or conceptually, I think that the approval of other people shouldn't matter to you, but it begins to be something that is real in your life. You stop caring about the approval of other people because you're somebody who gets things done. You are a doer who tests things and goes after it and tries to figure out what's going to work in your life and how things are going to function. And you become a problem solver. You become somebody who perseveres. You become that so much to the point to where you almost don't talk about it anymore because you simply are that. And that's probably the most beneficial part about that, is if you have that, you can accomplish anything. So, as a final thought, strive in silence. Appreciate what it's going to do in your personal growth, which will ultimately reflect in your business, your side hustle, your creative endeavors, and a lot of times even in your relationships, because that's going to shape how people look at you and how they connect with you when they see what it's doing in your life. Anyway, make sure to like and subscribe. Please comment. I want to hear from you guys and see what you think about this, and your own experiences with this. Especially, I've gotten many comments from people about their own experiences with some of the things that I've talked about, and it's been incredibly enlightening, encouraging. So I absolutely want to hear from you. Make sure you hit the notification button as well, the notification bell, because I'm going to be uploading pretty regularly from now on, and I'm looking forward to building community with you guys. So whatever your background is, this could be completely useful and helpful to you, and feedback is always appreciated. Y'all have a great day, and hopefully it's a beautiful day where you are too. I'll talk to you soon.